I'm not going to do a trade agreement with these dudes. I'm not going to risk them taking my manufactured goods as much. If there's no barriers between our nations, they'll take too much of our stuff. It'll make everything more expensive for us. We have raising concerns in Brandenburg. The Junkers have expressed their concerns about government decisions clearly favoring the interests of the industrialists. Yeah? And? So we can do make them happier, make the industrialists a little bit less happy. This is actually a decent political move. Or we can make them get minus 10% interest group political strength for 5 years and lose an interest group approval. I think let's pretend to address their concerns, make them happier, lose a little bit of industrialists. We have plus 12 industrialist happiness at the moment. We can lose some in exchange for getting the Junkers to be happier, which means that we might be able to push through a law that pisses them off at some point in time in the next 5 years. Or at least it might help us pull that off. And we don't have to do anything but say that we hear you. Oh, hey, we're up to 2 buildings being worked on in the private construction queue at the same time, which has really helped out our budget. Alright, all of our improved relations have finished. Let's see if we can get anybody to switch to us. Bremen, Hamburg, and Oldenburg. Oldenburg will just do it straight up. They'll be a good boy. So please do join us. Hamburg will do it, but they want an obligation. So if we give them an obligation, we cannot start diplomatic plays against them or even join a play on the other side as them. They can use an obligation to force us into a diplomatic pact, or may absolve it to sway us into supporting them in a diplomatic play. So it's plus 30 to offer an obligation. In order for them to want to join us more, we'd have to have a increased value of existing customs union, which means that our GDP would probably have to get bigger, and that might increase the score that we get from GDP comparison. Maybe. If we increase our attitude, we could maybe pull it off. I'm not sure we can pull this off without doing it. But if they have an obligation, if we owe them an obligation, I'm not sure that we could integrate them. They might even be dumb enough to absolve us of the obligation on their own. What if I offer to take on some debt? An instant diplomatic action where one country takes over another country's loans in exchange for an obligation. I can do that to Finland, Bavaria, Oldenburg. Oldenburg's already going to join us. These other two don't matter, so these guys don't have debt that I can take. What if I tried a defensive pact with Oldenburg? Not Oldenburg, but Hamburg, and it is Oldenburg, right? No, Bremen and Hamburg, gotcha. Could try alliance actually with these dudes. There'd be a lot of influence, but that would improve our relationship perhaps. I think we just do it. I think we just say, you know what, fine. I'll owe you an obligation. Come join me. You know you want to play in our market instead. Now Hanover is not on that list there. Or did they join us naturally just now? Let's zoom out here. They're in their own market actually. Okay. You guys want to come join us? I wonder if Hanover is like British or something. No, they're North German. I should be able to like integrate them, I think. We can invite them to a customs union. They'll only join if we owe them an obligation. What are they going to do with an obligation? You know what I mean? Like, fight somebody in our customs union? That'd be stupid. But they could pull it out. They could maybe pull it off with an obligation. Their acceptance score right now is +1, and that is with an obligation. Yeah, sure, come on. I'll take the risk of you guys doing that. They might even, you know, decide, hey, we absolve you. Anyway, let's check out the glorious Prussian market, now consisting of most northern German states. Whether or not Schleswig and Holstein is German is a interesting question. And this is, of course, also what should be Prussian market, but it is not quite yet. But yeah, now we have access to all the things that these dudes were doing with their land, which is actually some semi-decent stuff. Yeah, quite a few different industries we got going on that our people want to have access to. And we do want this land properly part of us eventually, so I'm quite happy for it to develop as well. These aren't huge additions to our market. but it is of course also more people to sell to. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that. I'll consider that a success. We have inefficient agriculture. I think this is where the industrialists, they complain about subsistence farms being inefficient. They want us to follow their advice. If we discourage subsistence farming in Brandenburg, we'll get plus 25% migration attraction, so more people will want to move to Brandenburg. We'll also have 5% of the upper strata pops become more radical. I'm okay with that. Alternatively, we could upset the industrialists, but we might end up losing the job creators bonus that we have, which is really increasing their investment pool contribution, so they pay for more buildings to get built. I think that we follow their advice. So Brandenburg is actually our capital state, yes indeed. So more people will want to live there. We don't actually do, well, we have a decent amount of industry here. I would say that this is not the best location to have that industry though, because we don't even have logging for the furniture, we don't have sulfur for the paper mills, we don't have logging for the glass works, we don't have sulfur. I think sulfur also uses, I think glass works also use sulfur eventually. No, just lead. Gotcha. We don't have lead. Like, it's not a good vertical integration location. Oh my goodness, we have an arms industry here that doesn't have access to iron or hardwood. Like, the local price of iron has got to be pretty high. Only 10% higher than the Prussian market, so it's not terrible. But the hardwood price is 44% higher compared to the average. Yeah, you really want to be vertically integrated in each state in the beginning. Come on, landed voting. Come on. Too bad. We did get a rousing speech, though, that captivates the public. This afternoon, Karl Heinrich von Weilich und Latham, leader of the Junkers, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of landed voting. This should ease the path to reform greatly, get 15% enactment success chance, or performances like these reflect well on him and his cause. So we get a little bit less enactment success chance in exchange for the Junkers getting interest group attraction. No thanks. I'll take the 96% chance of getting the law enacted. Thank you very much. Okay, we just finished one of the private industry buildings. We're at 69% funding, so we're not quite yet at the point of relying on having 2 private industries get built at once. Plus the industrialists might get pissed off of us at one point in time. So I do not want to increase my construction capacity at the moment. But man, we are churning out the universities quite rapidly. I do need to actually make one that is level 5 for the philosophy department, right? Yeah, level 5 for the philosophy department. We could build one more in Brandenburg, so let's do that. We'll do that, and I'll set that actually as the next thing to do, and we'll just cut one of the universities in Posen. Unless, of course, our weekly innovation cap increased, which it did not, because our literacy has not yet increased. We definitely want to get our literacy up as high as we can, because that actually results in a lot of our innovation cap. Although you do suffer a birth rate decrease as literacy goes up. But literacy is important to a lot of things. It's also demanded by certain professions. Are investing in education, right? No, not enough. We need to do that. I should have done it earlier. That's too bad. It's better late than never, though. There's just quite a few different things to actually check as you start playing the game. Building all these universities will also increase the number of academics that we have, and academics, they tend to favor intelligentsia, but they do have a lot of petite bourgeoisie, at least in Prussia. But yeah, they lean towards intelligentsia. Russia started a return state diplomatic play against the Caucasus. Don't care about that, but glad to know that it's happening. Hey, we have landed voting. So we have the Conservative Party, Free Conservative Party, wonder what the difference is, and the Progress Party. Yeah, we're down into unacceptable government because the Junkers have lost even more clout. So the Conservative Party consists of the Junkers and the armed forces. The Free Conservative is the industrialists. And the Progress Party is intelligentsia, rural folk, and petite bourgeoisie. Yeah, I don't think that we can actually fix this. Oh, we can fix this problem by bringing in the evangelicals. You can also fix it by bringing in the industrialists and the evangelicals. Why can't we not just bring in the free conservatives? That fixes the problem. We're up to 60 now. Why is that not listed? Come on now. Evangelicals, they need to join conservatives. Gotcha, gotcha. So conservatives actually includes evangelicals. Fine, fair enough. So we have the conservative and free conservative in government at the moment. Let's take a look at laws that we might want to pass. I like interventionism because I like being hands-on, so I'm not going to mess with that. We have per capita taxation, which is about as good as we can get. We could push towards wealth voting next. Push harder down the democracy pathway. Could also go state religion, but not going to do that. Cultural exclusion might be the way to go here. Evangelicals don't like it, but that's just too bad. That is going to slow down the progress by presenting some stall options, but there's a strong chance that we'll get past it. And if we accept more people want to move here, which means more people want to work here. And we're going to have problems with having enough population eventually. We could do a health system. We have the bureaucracy to spare, but charity hospitals would make the devout stronger, so I don't want to actually do that. We have migration controls. We could go to no migration controls, but that would probably radicalize, the bourgeoisie and the rural folk. So let's not do that for now. Colonial affairs. We could try colonial affairs one more time. Could do exploitation, 34%, but it radicalizes the rural folk either way. I think for now, our best bet is actually to take advantage of the political movement and just go with fixing our citizenship law to cultural exclusion. We're gonna have only a 5.6% chance of a stall. Wonderful. Very good indeed. End of discussion factor. What is that? The presence of an end of discussion factor represents that interest groups in government consider further discussion of the merits of the law currently being enacted no longer useful. The lower this gets, the more negative pressure it puts on the possibility that the enactment may advance or stall. Let me see, so they're tired of talking about it basically? It must be related to the success chance somehow. They see it as like inevitable that it'll get through. And a lot of our bonuses just changed here. I don't worry too much about all these bonuses unless I have something come up that I can use to influence their happiness with me. But I do know what they are. I know so junkers do authority, which is not bad. I like authority. Industrialists are all about investment pool contribution, and they have different uniques sometimes based on like evangelical church versus Catholic church or something like that. Evangelicals actually have work ethic for plus 5% company throughput bonus. That's okay. But yeah, overall we're doing pretty good with our interest groups because we're doing good economically in general. And we're not doing anything too crazy in terms of laws. Speaking on speech, event in Brandenburg. Today's speech from George Laced focuses on the right of assembly and the efforts of the Progress Party to secure it. A crowd has flocked from all corners to hear it. So George Laced is what? He's the rural folk leader, no, agitator, gotcha. So he has a point. It adds momentum to the Progress Party because I think we're doing, elections are coming up soon. I like that idea actually. I like the idea of having the intelligentsia, but we do actually need, because we're a monarchy, we need the current head of government, which is the king, to be represented in the interest groups, which is the chunkers. But adding momentum to them, I don't think it's a bad thing. They're not going to win. They're not going to win. Alternatively, we could get a little less momentum, or a lot less momentum, in exchange for Brandenburg gets uncensored rally for 5 years, 15% right of assembly pop support. So I think that's like a political movement to support right of assembly. I'm okay with that. Or those who wish to speak should know how and when first. That would upset the rural folk by increasing their radicalism, and it would make the Progress Party lose momentum. No, he has a point. Let's just go with that. We've got nitroglycerin. So now we need to start getting our mines switched over to nitroglycerin production. How well we can do that is based on our supply of explosives and the demand for iron. So there's a good amount of demand for iron in our customs union. The only issue is probably going to be explosives. Yeah, we have 11 more explosives than we need, which is not going to be enough to get everybody switched over. If I were to run nitroglycerin right now, we would have an import goods shortage on explosives. We would need 145 more, which means that we would actually need about 135 more in total. Currently, we only have one explosives factory, but that can go up to sodium, ammonia, soda, Jesus Christ, ammonia, soda. Yeah, there's a difference between ammonia and ammonium, I believe. It's been quite a while since I was in college. That's like a basic chemistry thing. Anyway, we would increase our paper use and sulfur use to make up to 80 explosives total. Let's actually do that now. So that'll mean that we produce 80 explosives. We could go up to like, I think you can at most double that number, and that would be the shortage. So 160. So we might actually be able to supply all of our iron mines with explosives from one factory. I think we can pull that off, but no, we just barely can't do it. That also makes iron a lot cheaper, but I'm fine with that actually. Let's do it. Let's do it now, and then we'll go to our explosives factory and probably build another one on top of it. Let's take a look at Roar Valley real quick, and let's make sure that the explosives factory being here makes sense. So it uses fertilizer, paper, and sulfur. We don't have access to sulfur here, so that's kind of a problem. We don't have access to local paper. That's also a problem. But we have access to local fertilizer. Now fertilizer also uses sulfur, but sulfur is not present here. Fertilizer plants should not be located here. That means that I need to build an explosives factory somewhere else. I also need to consider building a fertilizer factory somewhere else. We're actually producing a little bit more fertilizer than we use, which is unfortunate. I'm not sure that building the second explosives factory is a stronger move. There is another fertilizer plant though. There's one in Westphalia. Ah, good. We'll build here. Oh, goodness, we'll build here. We have the sulfur, we have the fertilizer. We don't have paper here yet. We should get paper eventually. So we're going to go ahead and build an explosives factory right here. Question is, where in the queue does it go? We already got that other railway built in Westphalia, so infrastructure is a-okay. That means I want to push the explosives factory up to the forefront. Get that done ASAP. So that's one explosives factory that will provide an extra 80 explosives, so we'll be producing 160 explosives total, not taking into account manufacturing decrees and such. Ah, it's true, we do have a lot of manufacturing decrees in play. So let's just say 160 for now. So we can do up to 320 explosives total on usage and have it not shortage, I think. So we could probably get production fixed as well. Let's just get the iron mines, and then we'll do the coal, sulfur, lead, etc. I don't like increasing the mortality of my engineers, laborers, and machinists, but this is a temporary thing, and that's a lot more iron that we didn't already have. The cheaper that we can make construction, the better. Cultural exclusion already got to consideration. Impressive. That was like one attempt, I think, or was it two? I think it was two. Yes, we also need to select what we're going to research next. Bessemer process is almost done. Let's just finish that up sooner. Might as well increase our production of steel. Why not? And our explosives shortage is actually gone completely. They are still expensive, but we're actually producing 96 from that one explosives factory. So man, this one explosives factory must be pretty profitable now, right? Goodness, 46.2. Yes, #1 explosives factory in the world. #5 most productive building in the world. Oh, we dropped down to number 5 in great powers. Even though our prestige went up, Austria actually surpassed us just now. They're getting plus 30% from Austrian aristocracy, Wiener Walzer. Yeah, whatever. Get you eventually, Austria. Election results are in, and the Bessemer process is done pretty much at the same time. Conservative Party won the most, and then the Progress, and then the Free Conservatives. We'll see what kind of composition that we can get in a second. We also got the Bessemer process. We might want to go ahead and push our steel mills into the more efficient process now, although we're meeting our steel demands pretty much perfectly. Oh, thankfully they added another set of tools beyond steel tools for the workshops, so that you use more steel. Oh, these need rubber. Interesting. That's very interesting. So there's more need for rubber now. I'd like to go up to the more efficient steel production, but well, that would actually supposedly increase our money earned. Supposedly it would crash the price of steel to 12.5, but I don't believe that result. If we look at the market here, if we increase our steel production by 25%, that's not going to like crash the market, but it is going to make steel really cheap. And the mills will probably lose people. That also increases the price of iron, which we're actually going to be kind of even with because iron just got cheaper. I think we'd go ahead and we do this now and then get the market to start adjusting to it naturally. Yeah, let's do that now. The mills will lose some people in the meantime, but that's okay. They'll get those people back once everything sorts itself out. And then what do we want to research next? Probably a production thing. I'm kind of thinking canneries. I do like increasing our groceries that we produce. Alternatively, let's take a look at military. We could start considering some more military stuff. Could get rifles to increase our small arms production. I'm not too concerned about that. Shell gun for increasing artillery production. Field works gives us plus 10% army defense. I do like that a lot actually, just in case we get attacked. Logistics increases our conscriptable battalions. I'm not sure that we even have any conscripts. Yeah, we have no conscripts, so I don't care about that one, other than getting through it to triage, etc. Hydraulic cranes increases our port max level. I actually kind of like the idea of field works, just in case. I don't feel entirely comfortable at the moment. And we have a free government reform. What can we pick? We're probably going to stay as we are. Let's try swapping the Free Conservative and the Progress Party. That makes us illegitimate. Yeah, that's not going to happen. The best that we can do is bring the Free Conservatives in. We don't actually lose any legitimacy by bringing them in. We gain 1. So we're going to stay as we are. Those numbers will change eventually, but not quite yet. Eventually they'll switch on which one is most powerful. Cultural exclusion already made it to the phase of law enactment, so we're almost there. We've got enough influence on hand that we could consider improving some relations with some people. Could also try to spread our customs union, but nobody is really interested at all in joining us. Gotta make sure I click the right button here versus join customs union. We don't want that. We want to bring them into our fold. Yeah, Sweden does not want to join no matter what. They're just too big. If we can get some more interest, we might be able to start extending into Africa and maybe South America. Possibly Asia over here, Southeast Asia. When we start doing that, I'd really like to have the ability to colonize. But for now, we cannot do that, so we should just improve some relations. Let's go ahead and see if we can keep Great Britain off our backs, since we don't have a direct conflict with them right here. Let's just try to be nice to them. And same thing with, I think, the Ottomans. Oh wait, no, the USA can interact with us now. Let's be nice to the United States. We might try interacting with South America and getting involved down here, which would step on their toes, potentially. I don't know how pissed off they get, the AI does, considering whether or not the Monroe Doctrine is taken into account. Could be nice to these people, but I'm not going to do it. I don't see any point in doing so. In the East, in Asia, let's actually improve relations with the Ottomans. Why not? I don't think there's anything else that we'd rather spend our influence on doing. Okay, we have another agitator, Ludwig Miroslavsky. You will join the movement to enact cultural exclusion. Okay, what else do you do, my friend? You're part of the petite bourgeoisie. I'm not sure I like the petite bourgeoisie. They tend to be problematic people. Yeah, xenophobic, potentially. Let's actually see if I can't bring up their... Here we go. Yeah, they're reactionary. So they don't like communism. They don't like multiculturalism. But they are meritocratic and they are patriotic. Does mean they don't like graduated taxation. They also strongly oppose guaranteed liberties. Maybe I should get rid of this dude. I feel like he's gonna be a bit of a problem. He is a radical though. So he endorses presidential republic and parliamentary republic. What does the other guy endorse? He's a reformer. So he's more about cultural exclusion, property to women, compulsory primary school. This dude would actually help us become more democratic, most likely. And census suffrage, universal suffrage, right of assembly, protected speech. Even though he's petite bourgeoisie, he himself prefers protected speech. I think we'll let him stick around for a little while. We'll see what he does in the future. I could exile him, but I'm not going to do that. Investment in education is finally up to 3, so that is wonderful. I definitely like my people to be more intelligent, please. We have media endorsements in advance. So the Voice of Stettin, a popular newspaper read by the rural folk class across Prussia, has published an article by George List advocating for the enaction of cultural exclusion. Well, we can either reduce enactment time, increase enactment success, or get a little bit less but improve the rural folks' opinion of us. I don't want to do that. I also don't want to make them bigger. I don't like that. So let's just be like, who are we to counteract the voice of the people? So we should get cultural exclusion on the next roll, most likely. We have the event Eye in the Needle. The evangelical church are dissatisfied with the inclusion of the industrialists in the present government. Judge not that ye be not judged. They are going to be less happy. They might try to leave government, which is fine. I don't think they can take the other interest groups with them. Alternatively, we could upset the industrialists. I don't want to do that. Or we can lose 25% authority for 5 years. Nope. Evangelical church is too bad. Go away. You will be marginalized one day. One day not that far away. Where do we build on this paper mill? Rhineland? Please tell me that there's sulfur. There's no sulfur in Rhineland. Okay. It's not perfect, but whatever. Oh, my wife is home. I'll have to be right back. Alright, we're back for another round of recording here. Now that we're about to get all of our universities built, we need to consider what we want to do next. I can't remember if this 117 innovation was 117 or it is 112 from before. Either way, if we need to, we'll build some more universities to reach that cap. Taking a look at our market, the most expensive thing is ammunition, but that's okay. After that would be paper, and then wood. I am definitely of the mind that we should address our paper shortage, or at least the price of paper, to be exact. So we have a negative balance of 283. Right now, paper mills produce 70 per level. So we're going to need about 4 paper mills, probably 5 paper mills if we want to get it a little bit cheaper. But I think 4 is a safer bet. So these 4, I need to make sure they go down someplace that I have sulfur, which should logically be a place that is the cheapest naturally if I sort by earnings. So we have Prussian Brunswick. I think they do actually have some sulfur, don't they? And then Silesia. Right? Surprisingly, that Prussian Brunswick does not have sulfur, but Silesia does. Now, I'm more open to losing access to paper in the event of war, since I'm pretty sure you lose access to it if you lose the state. So I'd rather just put it in Silesia, because we do want to get some sulfur developed here, of which there's actually none at the moment. We have 10 infrastructure available in Silesia. That means that we can easily put down 4 paper mills. And I highly doubt that they don't have enough qualifications to fully staff that building. We do have another university going up here that will help with that. I also want to get a sulfur mine built here. We're building 4 paper mills. Each one of those consumes 10 sulfur, so we should be able to get 1 sulfur mine built here. And let's fix these so the sulfur mine gets built before the paper mills. And then after that, I think we're going to want to consider increasing our construction sector, unless this is a temporary situation where we have 2